if you write a terrible script, especially if the company has like a story department, or if they have an intern that's logging out, categorizing everything. If you write a bad script, then you're on a bad script list. They're not going to read your stuff anymore. And I've seen notes from the story department that says, no, don't read from this person. You've ruined your chance. So I think what happens when people write, and it's called that writer's euphoria. You finished your script and you love it. It's great, but it's actually shit. And me too. It has to go through drafts, and especially with new writers, I was so uncomfortable listening to this man talk about his script. He was getting back good notes, but he wanted to protect it. He wanted to protect the main character. He wanted to protect the script, and he wanted to leave everything the way it is. But the rule of thumb is, and this is like the unspoken rule, you probably won't find it on the internet, but the unspoken rule is, if you let 3 different people read your script and you're kind of getting the same note, you need to make changes so that your script can be the best script. And if it's your first script, move on. Move on and try to get to the 4th or the 5th script. That's kind of like when the bad shit is out and you found your voice as a writer, you found your stride, you understand that whatever genre, be familiar with the genre you're writing for. Horror has its tropes, comedy has its tropes. And it's not to say that you can't go in and put these all upside down, but you need to know it to manipulate it. So it's very important. I can always tell when somebody just watched a horror film and then tried to write it, because all the bad guys doing is just stabbing people. What else? You gotta read. If you don't read, and it doesn't have to necessarily be scripts, but read stories that's kind of like your idea. Find the movie that's kind of like your idea, and find the scripts. They're so easy to access now. Find the movie that kind of goes along with your story and see how it's written. So that's number 1. Number 2, sort of like think about beginning, middle, and end. Have an idea of how it's supposed to end. It's going to change. The end is going to change as your characters talk to each other, as you get more into the story. It'll change, but you have to have something to write to. Okay. And then if you're new at script writing, maybe practice scene writing. Just practice the format. Go get a script, and whatever software, get the software. Okay, don't be in a Word document. Go get that Final Draft. You can use it for like 30 days for free. So download, invest in a script writing software, and practice screenplay format. So you can practice it a variety of ways. You can get a script and just have it beside you and type the first 5 pages so that you can get familiar with the format of screenplay writing. Or you can just make up a scene that happened that day. Interior, house, day, and Orethia, I'm the character tag, and then give myself a dialogue tag. But just practice script writing. After that, I think it's important to sort of think more in depth about what you want to do with your story. Beginning, middle, end. What's happening in the beginning, what's happening in the middle, and what's happening in the end. So as a script writing teacher, you can, as a script writing teacher, for me, I always tell students the best thing to do is to just really give some thought to your protagonist. Think about that person. In basic screenwriting, I try to push students to have an idea of the person, the profession. Stephen King, in his book on writing, says it's really, if you learn professions of characters, you've opened up a door to so much richness. Go in and find out, the natural thing to do is use your profession. And I use my profession all the time. I set stuff in schools, but it's also great to go learn about plumbers, go learn about doctors. Don't just depend on Grey's Anatomy to get your language about doctors. Okay, go talk to a doctor. Go to an emergency room and just like sit there and listen and look, so that you can get some authentic language and character from that world. So that's going to inform the decisions and how you structure your main character or your main characters. And then think about the world, the normal world. That's the status quo, how things are going normally, and what could happen to disrupt that world. That's the point of attack. Think about the movie Collateral. Max, Jamie Foxx's character, he is a taxi driver. We see his day-to-day. We see how he interacts with people. We see him being charismatic to one passenger. We see he's stiff and he's not as charming with Vincent, the male character. So how he approaches women and how he approaches men, there might be something there. And we see that he has a dream of being, of owning limos. So that's the status quo, how he goes about his day. Then the body falls out of the window onto the cab. That's the point of attack. It sort of like disrupts his world. And then your character is pushed into making a decision. What am I going to do? Okay, so then that's going to help you with your act 2, where your character is going to pursue a goal. And I tell people, make it a tangible, like a good goal. Not, well, he just doesn't know what he wants to do, or she just wants to like be something great. Well, that's not going to give your characters anything to go to or go for. So think about that. The Act 2 question, will they do this? Will Max survive the night with Vincent? Yes, but, no, but. So that's the end of Act 2, is yes, but, no, but. And then your Act 3, you'll generate a new tension based on that yes, but, no, but. Like with Collateral. Will Max survive the night with Vincent? Yes, but he finds out that Annie, Jada Pinkett's character, is the last target. So is he going to save Annie? So you're keeping the tension. Ultimately, at the end of the day, and structure is sort of like a different class. But as a beginning screenwriter, just remember this. Conflict. Somebody wants something badly and is having trouble getting it. That used to be taped to my computer my first year at USC. Conflict. Somebody wants something badly and is having trouble getting it. And if you approach script writing in that way, then that should kind of take you to the end that you want. And then once you get to the end, you got your plot draft. That first draft is your plot. You're trying to just get out the story. Your second draft is your character draft. You've gotten the plot out. You kind of have an idea of your story. Now you go back to the character and focus on the need. So there's something called want and need. Want is the plot. This character wants this. Max wants to survive the night with Vincent, but he needs to learn how to be brave. He needs to stop being a dreamer. So that's when you have to kind of come back to all that good character work you did before you started, because that's going to determine the decisions that they make. And not, so the obstacles that you place in front of your characters, they're not always external based. Like, oh, they're trying to get to the store, but then a truck hits the car. So if you know your character, you can put some internal issues within that character, because this character is so argumentative, that prevents them from leaving the gas station, which prevents them from getting to wherever they need to go. So you use those obstacles to your advantage and mix the internal and external issues to get through your second and third act. One thing that new writers fail in when they try to start a script is that they don't read. They haven't read any scripts. I hear it all the time. And this person will say, well, I kind of got started and I crapped out. And I was like, well, what have you read? And it's like blank looks. Blink, 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 blink. It's like, okay, first you need to read so that you can get an idea. And then the other reason why beginning writers fail in approaching script writing is because they don't sit down and outline. You got to have something. Even if, some writers, they just hash out a first draft, and the first draft is their outline, but at least they have something on paper. So if you don't sit there, it's sort of like trying to get to Colorado from Georgia, okay? And you can go, well, I have a general sense that Colorado is this way, but if you had directions and if you were following directions, you could get there efficiently. So if you sit there and get the beats and think about like what the characters are going to do, and and that's why it's important to know what end you have. And like I said, you're not held to the end. You're not even held to the outline. This outline that I have for Girls Guide, I have retinkered it so many times, and where you see, well, the slashes are where I've met that scene goal, but here where I have this circle, this isn't working in the story right now, but at least I'm writing to it. At least I have something that's holding me to getting me to through the story. So outline, don't forget that, and don't think that the story is going to be perfect. That's another reason why beginning writers fail. They're like, okay, well, they keep rewriting that first scene. Get through the first 5 pages. Once you've got through the first 5 pages, keep going. It's not going to be perfect. All first drafts are shit. Even Quentin Tarantino's first drafts are probably shit. You have to keep going. No shade to Quentin Tarantino. I love Quentin Tarantino. I'm just saying it's a process. Writing is a process. Writing is rewriting. So keep that in mind and finish. Once you start, finish. Hold yourself accountable to a schedule. So if you say, oh, I'm gonna work on my script like when I get home or all this, no. If you're going to be serious as a scriptwriter, you report to that desk at a certain time every day. Okay, you report there. Okay, my writing time is from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. There you go. You treat that script writing process like you would your job, and I bet you'll finish it.